What's up, guys? Nate Petrosky from Narrowway Homestead, talking about cats and issues, particularly Katana. Oh, girl. So, most of you guys have seen the shorts by now, I would imagine. We are, what time is it? About 24 hours from when I found her with her issues. She's doing better. She has been eating wet food, eating some other stuff I gave her, like treat type of things, and I've been giving her water in a syringe, but she's feeling a lot better. She's using her litter box, which is super cool to see. I know she's staying hydrated because I am personally making sure she stays hydrated, and most of the time she does kind of seem very docile, dreary, like she's obviously not doing amazing, but I just wanted to go over just a bunch of stuff about her and how I care for animals in general. And the comments will no doubt fill up with all sorts of hater comments, and that's just the way the internet is. First of all, I am definitely certain I would be taking her to a vet. Hey, come back here. If I thought there was something that they could do that I am not currently doing, or something that they would do that I'm not currently doing. Maybe she wants to go outside. I brought her inside out of the kennel, which I was observing her in because it's just getting warm. Just getting warm out there, and I thought maybe some cool air conditioning would be good. It's actually the only reason I'm running the air conditioning right now, because I was afraid she was getting a little bit too warm. Basically, the time to take her to a vet was before I actually discovered her. She showed up on the porch. Her and her sister and Dagger all pal around outside during the day, and she was just kind of like not around all the time, which just sort of happens. All the cats do that. And then I heard a very strange meow off the side of the deck and brought her up, and well, you guys saw in that video, which I'll play alongside here, she was just not doing okay. And I really wasn't sure, like I thought maybe she was just a little bit sleepy at first or something. And I started basically moving her around and patting her and almost just trying to like get her like to respond to me and get upset. And that was actually the moment I realized, like, whoa, she's actually in pretty bad shape. It's not good. And a lot of people were saying, get her to the vet, get her stomach pumped. Quite sure that she was, are you trying to explore? Are you trying? You trying to knead on the bed? Quite sure that she had ingested something that was not good for her, whether it was water that a toad was sitting in and she got toxins that way, whether she attacked the toad and licked it, whether she ate a plant that wasn't good. I am surrounded by all sorts of plants, all kinds of crazy stuff in the West Virginia wilderness here. There's definitely stuff that's not good for cats. I've had cats out here and never had one ingest something to a point I thought they were going to have issues until now. Basically, once I discovered her, it became very obvious that she was not going to be able to have her stomach pumped because she was already metabolizing whatever toxin it was, because you could see the way her eyes were and her lack of responsiveness. She was having neurological issues. So the toxins were already in her bloodstream, already affecting her negatively. So basically, and I've talked to some vets, some vet techs have DM'd and messaged, just letting me know what it is, the things they would do. Even stuff like checking for blood clots, so make sure none of the legs are feeling colder than the others. Something I did not think of, but they did. So I was definitely checking that out. All right, Minion, you can check her out. You can say hi. Sorry, I'm distracted with animals. I get distracted with animals and their behavior all the time. Yeah, give her some space. Give her a little space. But yeah, no, I was basically listening to everything they had to say. I could take her to a vet, have them do the monitoring and making sure she stays hydrated and make sure she eats some stuff. But without really knowing what she ingested, there's really nothing specific you can do. But even if you do know what she ingested, whatever type of toxin it is, like the treatment is pretty much the same for all of it. She must stay hydrated. She must get some sort of food, and you have to see like improved behavior if she's going to recover. And she is doing better. Yeah, she is. She's doing better, man. She's not there yet, though. I'm still treating her as if like she is doing really badly, because cats like will put on a show to try to be as appear as healthy as possible when they're not. But she's meowed at me today. That was a minion. Leave her. I know normally I let you do that, but no, not today. She's meowed at me. She's gotten mad at me when I was holding her a certain way. She's eating food. She hasn't tried to drink herself, but that's because I just keep forcing her to drink out of a syringe all the time. Her eyes look better. They don't look great, but she does have moments, especially when I take her out of like an area she's trying to sleep. Like, she does fine. She's no longer shivering. I'm just watching her like a hawk, same as what any good vet would do. I have a lot of experience with vets and going to vets, and a lot of experiences were not positive, and I have some friends that have taken their animals to vets. And one of the common misconceptions is if you take an animal to a vet immediately, they will be instantly cured. Now she's nursing. But unfortunately, that's not what happens. A lot of people take their animals to vets. They do stuff to them, and then they keep them for observation. And the next thing you know, they say, "Hey, your animal passed." And did they do the best they could? It's hard to say. You don't really know. Same with like the medical profession too. Sometimes people just don't do their jobs well, and they don't care about the people or the animals as much as, say, I do. Like, there's no way a vet cares as much about my animals as I do. Now, they may be better qualified, they may have more knowledge, and I'm all about it. But some of my experiences with vets, particularly Minion, it wasn't my first, but it was my first real negative experience. He started getting sores on the top of his head. You got him there, and then his ears would have 5 or 6. His whole body was just covered in horrible sores. He's still got 2 right now. His entire body was covered in sores, and I took him in, and they immediately said, "We have to do surgery on this one sore. This sore looks really bad. This could turn cancerous." Turns out it's an autoimmune issue, which a vet did not diagnose. I actually talked to somebody who was in pre-med school and who said, like, it sounds a lot like a autoimmune problem. So the vet happily put him through a needless surgery, just to have that sore reappear exactly the same way, form exactly the same way, because if there's an autoimmune skin issue, you don't just cut that part off and expect everything to be fine. It's just not how it works. That and taking Minion got into salt-cured meat, and I did end up taking him to an ER vet that happened to open just at the moment I arrived. But I tried a bunch of local vets. I'm like, "Guys, like, money is not an object. Like, I need something." They're just like, "We just don't have appointments," or our vet is leaving at 5. I mean, I don't know if he's got some barbecue to go to or something. And that's way more important than an emergency. I really wanted him to pump his stomach, because I discovered it early enough that he could have had his stomach pumped of that salted meat before it got into his bloodstream. However, they were all too busy to do so. Now, they're private practices. They're not obligated by any sort of law to, take a few hours of their evening and help somebody with their animal. They have every right not to. But it doesn't give me a favorable view. Like, these people are vets for, a nice job and making money, and, they've got a TV show to watch later, and that's fine. But if they really, really cared about animals, they'd be like, "You know what? I'm going to help you out. Come on in after hours. We're going to get this taken care of. You say you're willing to pay double the rate? Cool." None of that. So I learned early on that a lot of vets do not care. And I stopped at several on the way to the emergency hospital. And, they took a half hour to even see him once I got there. And the problem with Katana is, while she was definitely having issues, nothing looked like immediately like life-threatening. Was she responsive to an extent? Yes. Like, she was lethargic, but not like, oh my God. So I had this vision of chilling in a waiting room with a dying cat, waiting for some vet to pay attention after I spent 2.5 hours on the road to get there, to one that was open, that was close enough, that would actually have operating hours when I needed it. And then the cat's got to go through this whole stressful vehicle ride to get there. So what I opted to do was keep her hydrated and just watch for anything, any vomiting, anything that's going to be obvious that I'm going to have trouble. Yeah, anything that's going to just be obvious that I'm going to have trouble keeping fluids in her, and they can do something to hydrate her better with IVs, or what do they call it? A sub something like injection, where you can actually like give them like a camel mound of like liquid under the skin, which I've already Googled that, and I think I could do that. However, I'm not struggling with her keeping liquids down when I put them in her mouth. So I don't think that's necessary, as long as I'm very diligent and make sure I'm constantly doing that for her. So that's, and I have so many vet stories, guys. It's just not even funny. I don't want to just sit on here and endlessly bash vets, but they do not, in my experience, care as much about the animal as I do, and I've just got enough stories. And again, like, if I'm at a point where I just don't know what to do, and I think a vet is going to do something different than what I'm doing, and based on guidance of vets I've talked to and vet techs I've talked to and how they're going to handle the situation, basically what I'm doing is very, very similar to what they're going to do. So as long as I'm capable of taking care of it, that's what I'm going to do. So a lot of people don't like it. That's okay. Will Katana make it? I hope so. Do I have any idea if she actually will? She might not. Like, there's a very real possibility she might not, and everybody's going to say it's because you didn't take her to a vet. But I don't think a vet visit, based on my scenario, is going to increase the chances of her making it. So basically, it's a decision I made. These types of decisions, you never know if they're the right one until, you know, time passes and you look back and you're like, you know what? This happened when I did this, and I should have tried the other option. Maybe it would have happened the same way with the other option, but how do you know ahead of time? You don't. But yeah, this is probably the most sick or injured cat I've ever had, and it absolutely makes me very nervous, and I'm just going crazy trying to make sure she's okay. And if I thought going to a vet was going to give her better care, better treatment, I would. But I don't believe that's the case. I've talked to people who know more on the subject than I do, and I've become more and more educated as time goes on. I don't think she needs antibiotics. I think she's got a toxin issue and a neurological problem. Like, she doesn't need her stomach pumped. There's nothing to pump out. She's already metabolized what she's going to. So to me, it's all very basic, very simple stuff to understand. But there's my thought process, and you guys either get it or you don't, and it doesn't really matter. I'm just throwing it out there, and I hope she makes a full and complete recovery. She is showing signs to me of doing far better than she was 24 hours ago, and I'm going to continue monitoring her like she's not doing better. I'm not going to get lazy about it. Not going to get lazy until I see evidence of full recovery and normal behavior. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one. Hopefully I'm talking about how Katana is amazing and wonderful and fine and everything's great.